I'm answering your questions on intermittent fasting in today's video. Hello everyone, Jennifer here, and welcome back to the Daily Connoisseur. So I hope that you saw Monday's video, which is my intermittent fasting 5-year update. So I wanted to create a separate video where I was answering your questions so that we could give them, the right amount of time. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. I posed a question on the community tab and a lot of you reached out. So let's just dive right in. Okay, Izzy Iso Ken asks, what would you do differently if you started over again? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I've been fasting for 5 years, all right? And if you want that whole history, I do recommend that you watch my previous video on my 5-year update. So what would I do differently? Actually, I don't think I would do anything differently. I do like that first year had that dramatic weight loss for me. I do like that I really feel like I've paid attention to my body this whole experience. Like when I went down to like 112 pounds, I realized that wasn't right for me. I wasn't like trying to stay down there, you know what I mean? So I was listening to my body to go up. And then, as you know from the last video, varying the fast did not really work for me. But I don't regret it because I like that I tried it and that I ruled it out as something that would work for me. I don't do that well with longer fasts, and now I know that. So I wouldn't change anything. I'm pretty happy with the journey so far. Okay, Baby Texan writes a personal question, but if you wish to share, have your blood labs improved at the doctor, like cholesterol? Yes. So my blood labs look great, and I really couldn't ask for anything better. Everything looks good and I'm healthy. So I did have a slight cholesterol issue that has been resolved, and I'm not sure exactly what I did, but I'm sure fasting maybe helped with that. I'm not sure. I definitely feel healthier now than I did before I started fasting, which is just, regardless of blood labs, I just feel healthier, which is really nice. Okay, she said, how can I find consistent motivation in making a tough change to incorporate fasting? So I do think that fasting is easier for certain personality types. How do I say this nicely about myself? But I'm a very intense personality, like all in, all or nothing. If I start something, I finish it, one of those types of people. And that's good in some cases, and it's also bad in other cases. But I made it work for me in the sense that I started it in the pandemic, and I was like, I'm doing this now. And I really didn't have that much of a trouble, continuing with it. But I know that not everyone is like that. So I'd recommend, if you can do this with a friend or a family member, or watch YouTube videos to help you feel supported on your journey. You could get an app that might help you, that can help you along on the journey. Just something to keep you motivated to check in. You're welcome to leave comments here anytime as well. There's a very supportive community here. So I think as long as you do what you think will work for you, like if you think having an accountability partner would help, then, do that. Okay, Alenia writes, hi Jennifer, I'm wondering how you distract yourself when you get hungry within the fasting window. I'm sure the body adjusted to the schedule after a bit. Yes, it does. So I don't have issues like that anymore, but in the beginning it was hard because I would have an early dinner, but then I would kind of snack again late at night, especially if I was working. So cutting that snack out was hard in the beginning, and my body was like, I need a bowl of cereal. I need something, at 10 o'clock at night. So what I did in those instances was I just went to sleep, I slept through it. Or a lot of people say they brush their teeth to make them, not want to get out the bag of chips or something like that. And also I would reason with myself, I am fully nourished. I had a very healthy dinner. I've eaten a full day of food. I will survive. Like, I'm not going to die because I don't have a midnight snack, right? So that works for me, reasoning with myself, but also just distracting yourself is a good option, I think. I think going to bed, reading a book, that type of thing, maybe have a cup of herbal tea, whatever you can do to kind of push through those uncomfortable boundaries. But now, you honestly couldn't pay me to eat a bowl of cereal at 10 o'clock at night. I would be so horrified by justify this because I changed my body. You know, I would do this in the past when I was like staying up late because of kids and working until midnight and all that stuff. But now I do not like sleeping with food in my stomach. Like I cannot eat right before I go to bed. I just can't. I sleep badly if I do that. So do I try to have a more protein dense meal at night so I don't get as hungry later? No, I've shared this on the channel in my What I Eat in a Day videos that I actually don't really like eating protein. I do eat meat, but I don't eat a lot of it. And, you know, they always say this is the recommended amount, and I'm always like horrified by how much it is. So no, I don't really do that. But if that works for you, you know, that could be great. And then she says, curious how you portion. Is it all measured out, or do you just guess by according to how hungry you are? Yes, I just guess. I don't portion things out or any of that. But I did talk to Dr. Patty, and she did give some helpful advice about what our portions should be. So definitely check that video out. She's in my intermittent fasting playlist, and she's got a wealth of knowledge on this subject. Okay, so Lisa M says, since my last meal is at 6 p.m., sometimes it's really hard to fall asleep because I feel so hungry. How did you combat this? I tried drinking water, but that doesn't seem to help. So I actually don't have this problem. So now if I can't sleep if there's food in my stomach, if I feel like I'm still digesting, I love going to bed slightly hungry on like an empty stomach. I just like that feeling, and I actually sleep better. I would definitely ask your doctor about that to see if it goes away or not. And the other thing that I know is that fasting is not for everybody. Okay, so again, you know, I put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video, but just like long fasts aren't for me, 16/8 might not be for you. You know, fasting might not be your thing. You might be the type of body type that does need to eat a little bit before bed. So just, you know, talk with your doctor about this and see if you can uncover what's going on there. Pam says, do you find that weighing yourself and following the health metrics on your scale are helpful? Yes, I do. I have a smart scale that I weigh myself on, and it gives me all sorts of metrics, and it does keep me motivated. I like when my metrics improve. I like seeing, you know, where I am on the scale of things and what I can improve upon. So I definitely like that. And I will link the Body Pod down below. It's great. Natalie says, how is your sleep with intermittent fasting? I have noticed since fasting is a kind of stress on the body, I keep waking up too early and I can't fall back asleep. So it's funny that there are people here that their sleep is suffering from fasting, where I found my sleep improved from fasting. So again, it makes me wonder if fasting is right for you. I don't know. Ackmund Candy says, do you follow any guidelines from Dr. Peltz's books on fasting for women? So I discussed this extensively in the previous video. Dr. Mindy does recommend varying your fasts according to your cycle for the benefit of your hormones. And after doing that, I decided that it wasn't working for me and that I would stick to 16/8 because it is not an extreme form of fasting. I do think that if you're doing 24 or 36-hour fasts, that absolutely you should be syncing this with your cycle, just like she recommends. But I learned that I don't do well with longer fasting. And if you want that whole story, I do recommend that you watch the video that I published before this. On my 5-year update. Okay, Sophia says, I wonder if you've noticed any weight creeping back on, and if it does, do you need to adjust your fasting hours? So no, I mean, I think I always say like I'm between 122 to 125 because I just vary. I don't know about you, but I'm never really like the same weight all the time. It depends on the time of month, you know, how much water I've consumed, all of that. So it just kind of varies, but I don't notice like a steady creep of weight coming on. I did gain weight in the year that I decided to vary my fasts, or the 18 months. I can't remember how long it's been. But again, I'm still happy with my weight. I am just shy of the recommended weight for my age and my height. And so it's a non-issue. I'm definitely not, if I was going over that and starting to gain weight again, I'd be wondering about that, but that hasn't happened. And then she says, I'm curious if you've experienced any skin quality improvement over the years. I think so. I think that my skin is clearer and I just feel more youthful with fasting than I did when I wasn't fasting. So yes, I do notice a change. Okay, the Drake Family Chronicles says, my question is, do you count calories or know your average caloric intake for intermittent fasting? So no, I don't count my calories. like at all. And people do comment on my what I eat in a day videos about my food being somewhat lower calorie or smaller portions. I don't do that on purpose. I do tend to have quite small portions, I've noticed. But I get full. I mean, I really do pay attention to what I'm eating and when I'm full. And I do recommend mindful eating, sitting down at a table and not like walking around while you're eating or watching TV or doing things that are going to distract you from what you're doing. Because that way you can really notice when your body is full and when you need to stop. And then she says, is it still essential for a successful IF to be mindful of the amount of calories you're taking in every day? I mean, probably. Like, I think I talked about this with Dr. Mindy. You know, you can't just eat whatever you want. I do see channels on YouTube that say, oh, you can eat whatever you want. And, you know, but I do think you still need to have a healthy diet and good calories. But, you know, for me, I don't need to do calorie restriction. I really don't feel that because I'm not consuming so many calories. I've done many videos about how snacking is so not chic, which is chapter 2 of my book, Lessons from Madame Chic, because mindless snacking just adds on the calories without you even noticing it, right? So when you cut that out, when you stop eating at a certain time and cut out the nighttime snacking, you do naturally eat less. So that's my view on the subject. Okay, Fiddish Mum says, I've had better results with IF than fasting with my cycle or longer fasts like Dr. Mindy suggests. I think you've said you found the same. Yes, I have. That's just me. And that could be you and me, right? But other people, like my sister, for example, does find success with that method. So it's not putting down that method at all. It does work for some people, but I have found that for me, like a very moderate, non-extreme fast consistently is the best way to go. Okay, so I couldn't get to every question, but I think I answered all the major ones that people were asking over and over again. And I hope that you found this video to be helpful. I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my author newsletter. I send out one newsletter a month and it's totally free. Just go to jenniferlscott.com and enter your email in the top left-hand corner and click subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us here today, everyone. Keep calm and remain classy, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.